Queen Elizabeth's friend and racing advisor John Warren has said he can hardly believe she has died, revealed she was in tremendous form just a few days before she died and discussing her love for her horses right to the very end. Footage of Mr. Warren sitting beside Her Majesty as she claps her hands and beams after her horse, Estimate, wins in Royal Ascot's Gold Cup in 2013 was widely circulated last week. The victory marked the first time in the race's 207-year history the race was won by a reigning monarch. Mr. Warren said he spent the weekend before the Queen died in Scotland, discussing her horses, as they had done so many times before. He explained, "We sat there for hours over the weekend strategizing and making plans going forward. And I think the nicest thing for me is to know that she was surrounded by her family members. She was in such a healthy state of mind and in tremendous form. It's very important to know that she was absolutely, wonderfully switched on." Mr. Warren said the Queen had seen a lot of King Charles III and Camilla, Queen Consort, who were also in Scotland, and was enjoying having different groups of family staying at Balmoral. Queen Elizabeth and John Warren celebrate in 2013, Image, Reuters, he said, "She really loved having them right there with her and being able to talk about her horses and her love for her horses right to the very end." Referring to Boris Johnson and successor Ms Truss, he added, "I left her on Monday afternoon, the Prime Ministers were coming in on the Tuesday, she had a winner on the Tuesday. On the Tuesday evening she was in really good form, delighted she had had a winner, and talked about the Prime Ministers coming in and out, and I can hardly believe it possible that within less than 48 hours the Queen had died." He said, "Shocking as that was, it is wonderful to know that she led a long and full life, and dutiful to the very end. Perhaps the racing community contributed to giving her some pleasure along the way." Just in, Vladimir Putin has issued an ominous, veiled threat to keep Queen Elizabeth and John Warren smile after their win. Image, Reuters. Mr. Warren recalled that day at Ascot in 2013, saying her display of emotion was the culmination of a 7-year journey with Estimate, from before her birth. He said, "The footage you can see doesn't actually show you the final 2 furlongs. This was a really hard-fought battle. It just seemed like forever and ever before it was going to happen. Was it going to happen? Wasn't it going to happen? And, as the filly passed the post, the elation from the Queen was absolutely wonderful. She had a really huge tear in her eye, in both her eyes. I could see she was brimming with emotion, which was a wonderful thing." Mr. Warren said, "I think it was everything that Shed put into breeding horses and racing horses, achieving an ambition which is no different to any parent wanting their child to win at the Olympics. This felt the same elation as that. Don't miss Putin humiliated as Hess left waiting for meeting world leaders." Video Meghan puts on United Front with royals in threatening environment. Reaction: King Charles wants to optimize the monarchy and make his reign count. Comment: Queen Elizabeth and John Warren at Ascot in 2018. Image, Reuters. Mr. Warren recalled how the Queen practically galloped from the royal box to the unsettling enclosure, despite being in her 80s, carried by the Ascot crowd. He said, and in typical style of a horsewoman, although everyone was giving the Queen their congratulations, the Queen was absolutely steadfast to get to Estimate herself and give her a wonderful and well-deserved pat. That was a hugely touching thing to witness, the Queen just focusing purely on this creature that had delivered for her. That was remarkable." Mr. Warren said Estimate's victory was one of the real highlights of the Queen's long association with horse racing, along with her victory with Highclere, in the Prix de Diane, at Chantilly, in 1974. He said, "The Queen has definitely been excited and emotionally charged about having some other winners, particularly at Ascot, where the eyes are on, but I think this one was one that was so satisfying because it is such an iconic race. but he said her interest in racing was as much about planning the journey of a horse over years as it was winning with legendary mounts. Queen Elizabeth greets Liz Truss at Balmoral 2 days before she died. Image, Getty. What I found totally remarkable about the Queen was her ability to get so much pleasure out of any horse, no matter what level that horse was able to achieve, he said. If we had done our best, if we were able to get the equivalent of a D student a C grade with best endeavour, that itself was tremendous. He said, the horse had the last word, and that's what was fascinating for the Queen. Mr. Warren said she knew everybody in the racing industry, not only trainers, owners, stable staff and jockeys but also their families. He said, we're all such fanatics, and the Queen was in the club. With a wonderful foal being born in a morning, she would get news of that, and it would enable her to have a bit of a spring in her step amongst all the things she had to do. Trending: the Queen made Mr. Warren a Commander of the Royal Victorian Order, RVO, earlier this year, granted to people who have served the monarch in a personal way. He is married to Lady Caroline Warren, daughter of the Queen's previous racing advisor, the 7th Earl of Carnarvon. Together the couple own and run Highclere Stud near Newbury, Berkshire. Lady Caroline's brother is the current Lord Carnarvon, whose ancestral home is Highclere Castle, the setting for Downton Abbey. Mr. Warren has been an advisor to the Queen for more than 13 years. He said the Queen was a regular visitor to his home for 60 years, which she used as a base for visiting her horses. He said, I was just fortunate and incredibly lucky to be a part of being so close to her through our shared fascination.